The September rain drummed against the hospital window as Anna Thompson sat beside her mother's bed, watching the steady rise and fall of Angela's chest. 3 years, 3 long years of treatments, chemotherapy sessions, false hopes, and crushing disappointments. Her mother had fought bravely against the cancer that slowly consumed her body, but the disease had finally won. "Anna, sweetheart," Angela whispered, her voice barely audible above the hum of medical equipment. "Promise me you'll be strong. Promise me you'll never give up on your dreams." "I promise, Mom," Anna choked back tears, squeezing her mother's frail hand. "But you're going to get better. The doctors said—" "Shh," Angela managed a weak smile. "We both know that's not true anymore, but listen to me carefully. Vincent, he's a good man, but he's not ready for this responsibility. Don't blame him for what comes next." Anna's stepfather Vincent stood in the corner of the room, his face a mask of grief and something else she couldn't quite identify. He had married her mother 2 years ago, when the prognosis was still hopeful, when they all believed love could conquer anything. Now, faced with the reality of becoming guardian to a 15-year-old girl who wasn't his blood, his discomfort was palpable. 3 days later, Angela Thompson passed away peacefully in her sleep. The funeral was small. Just Anna, Vincent, a few of Angela's co-workers from the bakery she had managed, and Mrs. Bennett, their elderly neighbour who had been like a grandmother to Anna. As they lowered the casket into the ground, Anna felt as though her entire world was disappearing with it. Back at the house that evening, Vincent sat Anna down at the kitchen table. His hands fidgeted with a manila folder filled with official-looking documents. "Anna, we need to talk," he began, avoiding her eyes. "About your future." "What about it?" Anna asked, though she already sensed what was coming. "You know I care about you, right? Your mother and I. We were happy together. But I'm not equipped to be your guardian. I work long hours at the construction site. I travel for jobs sometimes. It wouldn't be fair to either of us." Anna's heart began to race. "What are you saying?" I think foster care would be the best option for you, just until you turn 18. It's only 3 years, and there are good families out there who specialize in helping kids your age." "Foster care," Anna shot up from her chair. "Vincent, this is my home. This is where I grew up. Mom and I painted these walls together. We planted the garden out back. I can't just leave." "Anna, please understand. Why can't I stay here alone? I'm 15, almost 16. I can take care of myself. I know how to cook, clean, do laundry. I've been helping take care of Mom for years." Vincent shook his head firmly. "That's not how it works, Anna. Legally, you're still a minor. You can't live alone, and I can't just walk away and leave you here. The state wouldn't allow it, and honestly, neither would my conscience." "Then become my guardian," Anna pleaded, tears streaming down her face. "Mum loved you. She trusted you with me." "I can't," Vincent said quietly. "I'm not ready for that kind of responsibility. I'm 42 years old, never had kids of my own. I wouldn't know how to help you with school, with college applications, with all the things a parent should do. You deserve better than what I can give you." Anna stared at him, feeling betrayed and abandoned. "So you're just going to ship me off to strangers?" "They're not strangers, Anna. They're trained professionals who know how to help kids in situations like yours, and it's temporary. When you turn 18, you'll be free to come back here if you want. I'm not selling the house. I'll keep it maintained for you." "That's 3 years, Vincent. 3 years of my life with people I don't know, in a place that isn't home." Vincent's voice grew firmer. "Anna, I've made up my mind. I've already contacted social services. They'll be here tomorrow afternoon to pick you up and take you to Maple Ridge Group Home. It's a good facility about an hour from here. They have programs to help kids like you transition to independence." Anna felt the floor drop out from under her. "Kids like me?" "You know what I mean. Kids who've lost their parents, kids who need support and guidance." That night, Anna packed her belongings into 2 suitcases and a duffel bag. Everything that mattered from 15 years of life. She held her mother's jewelry box, running her fingers over the small ballerina that spun when she wound the key. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory. Promise me you'll be strong. The next afternoon, a cheerful woman named Ms. Rodriguez arrived with the necessary paperwork. She wore a kind smile and spoke in soothing tones about new beginnings and opportunities, but Anna barely heard her. She was too busy memorizing every corner of the house she was leaving behind. Vincent hugged her goodbye at the door, and for a moment she saw genuine regret in his eyes. I'm sorry, Anna, I really am. But I believe this is what's best for both of us. Anna didn't respond. She picked up her bags and followed Ms. Rodriguez to the car, not looking back as they drove away from the only home she'd ever known. Maple Ridge Group. Home was a large, institutional-looking building surrounded by oak trees that were just beginning to turn autumn colours. Ms. Rodriguez walked Anna through the common areas, explaining rules and schedules, but Anna's mind was elsewhere. She felt like she was sleepwalking through a nightmare. You'll be sharing a room with Madison, Ms. Rodriguez explained as they climbed the stairs to the second floor. She's 17 and has been here for about 2 years. She'll help you get settled. Anna's room was sparse but clean. 2 twin beds, 2 dressers, 2 small desks. One side was clearly lived in, with posters of pop stars and a collection of nail polish bottles on the dresser. The other side, her side, felt hollow and waiting. Madison turned out to be a tall, intimidating girl with bleached blonde hair and an attitude that could cut glass. She looked Anna up and down when they were introduced, her expression somewhere between bored and hostile. Great, another crying orphan, Madison muttered. Just try not to wake me up with your sobbing, okay? Some of us actually want to sleep at night. Anna felt her cheeks burn. I'm not... Save it, princess. We all have sob stories here. Yours isn't special. Madison grabbed her leather jacket from her bed. Try not to touch my stuff while I'm gone. Anna spent her first evening unpacking in silence, trying to make the sterile space feel even slightly like home. Other kids wandered past the open doorway, some glancing in curiously, others ignoring her completely. She had never felt so alone. The next morning at breakfast, Anna sat by herself at a corner table, picking at her scrambled eggs and trying to stay invisible. The cafeteria buzzed with conversations and laughter that seemed to happen in a different world from hers. Is this seat taken? Anna looked up to see a boy about her age with dark brown hair and warm hazel eyes. He was carrying a tray and wearing a genuine smile that seemed out of place in the institutional atmosphere. No, Anna said quietly. I'm Danny, he said, settling into the chair across from her. Danny Rodriguez. And before you ask, no relation to Ms. Rodriguez. It's just a coincidence. I'm Anna. I know. Word travels fast around here. You're the new girl in Madison's room, right? Danny took a bite of toast. Don't let her get to you. Her bark is worse than her bite. Mostly. As if summoned by her name, Madison appeared at their table. Well, well. Looks like the princess found herself a knight in shining armor. She leaned down, getting in Anna's face. Let me give you some advice, newbie. Danny here likes to play hero, but he won't always be around to save you. You better learn to stand on your own 2 feet. Madison, Danny's voice carried a warning. Back off. Or what? Madison smirked. You'll tell Mrs. Campbell? Face it, Danny. Your time here is almost up. Pretty soon you'll be out in the real world, and Princess here will have to fend for herself. Leave her alone. Danny stood up, and Anna noticed he was taller than Madison, though she probably outweighed him. She just got here. Give her a chance to adjust. Madison laughed harshly. Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you both. She stalked away, leaving Anna feeling even smaller than before. Danny sat back down. Sorry about that. Madison's had a rough go of it. Her parents were addicts who used to lock her in closets for days. She's been here since she was 13. Sometimes people who've been hurt a lot don't know how to be anything but mean. Anna found herself curious despite her misery. How do you know all that? When you've been in the system as long as I have, you pick up people's stories. We're all here for a reason, and most of those reasons aren't pretty. How long have you been here? Danny's smile faltered slightly. At Maple Ridge? About 3 years. In the system? My whole life. Over the following weeks, Anna found herself drawn to Danny's steady presence. While other kids formed cliques or kept to themselves, Danny seemed to float between groups, equally comfortable talking to the quiet bookworms or the rebellious troublemakers. He had a gift for making everyone feel heard and valued. It was during one of their evening walks around the grounds that Anna finally shared her story. They sat on a bench under the oak trees, the October air crisp with the promise of winter. "My mum died of cancer," Anna said, the words still feeling strange in her mouth. "It took 3 years. My stepfather, Vincent, he didn't want to become my guardian. Said I'd be better off here." Danny listened without interrupting, his presence somehow making the telling easier. "I had this perfect life, you know. Nice house, my own room, a mom who loved me. And then everything just fell apart. Sometimes I feel like I'm living someone else's nightmare." Danny was quiet for a long moment. "I'm sorry you lost all that," he said finally. "It must be really hard to remember what it felt like to have a real home." "Don't you remember your home?" Danny shook his head. "I was found in a church parking lot when I was about 3 days old, just a baby in a cardboard box with a note that said, 'Please take care of him.' I've been in foster homes and group homes ever since, never stayed anywhere longer than 2 years. Anna felt her problems shrink in comparison. "Danny, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." "It's okay," Danny said, and he seemed to mean it. "I used to be angry about it when I was younger. Used to wonder what was so wrong with me that my own parents couldn't keep me. But then I realized that anger was just eating me up inside. I couldn't change my past, but I could choose how to react to it." "How do you stay so positive? How do you smile when everything is so messed up?" Danny grinned. "Because the alternative is giving up, and I'm too stubborn for that. Besides, I've met some incredible people along the way. People like you." Anna felt something warm bloom in her chest, the first genuinely good feeling she'd had since her mother died. As autumn turned to winter, Anna and Danny's friendship deepened. He helped her with homework, defended her when Madison and her friends got too cruel, and slowly helped her navigate the complex social dynamics of group home life. In return, Anna found herself becoming more confident, more willing to stand up for herself and others. Their relationship began to shift around Christmas. Anna had been dreading the holidays, her first without her mother, in a place that felt nothing like home. But Danny organised a secret gift exchange among the younger kids and somehow managed to get Anna a small silver necklace with a heart pendant. "It's not much," he said shyly as she unwrapped it, "but I thought you should have something that's just yours. Something beautiful to remember that there are still good things in the world." Anna felt tears prick her eyes as she fastened the necklace around her neck. "Danny, I don't have anything for you." "You do," he said softly. "You gave me something to look forward to every day. Before you came here, I was just marking time until I aged out. Now I actually feel like I have a reason to get up in the morning." That night, Anna lay in bed touching the pendant and realizing that somewhere between October and December, she had fallen in love with Danny Rodriguez. The winter months passed in a blur of shared glances, held hands during movies, and stolen moments of privacy where they could just be teenagers discovering their feelings for each other. Danny never pushed for more than Anna was ready to give, and Anna marveled at how safe she felt with him. But their happiness was shadowed by a growing awareness of time running out. Danny would turn 18 in June, and everyone knew he planned to enlist in the army as soon as he aged out of the system. "Why the military?" Anna asked one evening in April as they sat in the common room, supposedly doing homework but really just enjoying each other's company. "Structure," Danny said without hesitation. "Purpose. A chance to serve something bigger than myself. And honestly, it's the closest thing to a family I'm ever going to get. The army takes care of its own." "What about us?" The words slipped out before Anna could stop them. Danny's expression grew serious. "Anna, you know how I feel about you. These past months with you have been the best of my life. but I can't ask you to wait for me. You'll still be here for 2 more years, and I don't know where they'll station me or when I'll be able to come back." "But you'll try?" Anna's voice was small. "I'll try," Danny promised. "When your time here is up, if you still want to see me, I'll find you. No matter where I am in the world, I'll find you." June arrived too quickly. The night before Danny's 18th birthday, Anna gave him a letter she'd written, sealed in an envelope. "Don't read it until you're on the bus tomorrow," she said. "Promise me." "I promise." Their goodbye the next morning was witnessed by half the group home. Danny hugged everyone, thanked the staff, and collected his few belongings. When he got to Anna, they held each other for a long moment, not caring who was watching. "Be strong," he whispered in her ear. "Be the amazing person I know you are." "Come back to me," she whispered back. "I will. I promise." Anna watched from her bedroom window as Danny walked down the driveway, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder, never looking back. She pressed her hand against the glass and whispered, "I love you," knowing he couldn't hear her but needing to say it anyway. With Danny gone, the group home felt different. Madison and her friends, emboldened by the absence of Anna's protector, ramped up their bullying. But something had changed in Anna too. Danny's influence, his quiet strength and unwavering kindness, had taken root in her character. Instead of shrinking away from confrontation, Anna began to stand up for herself and others. When Madison cornered a new 12-year-old boy and started her usual intimidation routine, Anna stepped in. "That's enough, Madison," Anna said firmly. "Leave him alone." "Oh, look who grew a backbone," Madison sneered. "Your boyfriend's not here to save you anymore, princess." "I don't need saving," Anna replied calmly, "and neither does he. But what you're doing is wrong, and I won't stand by and watch it." The confrontation might have escalated, but other kids began to gather, and Anna realized she wasn't alone. Danny's kindness had created ripples throughout the group home, and now others were ready to stand up too. Over the next 2 years, Anna transformed from the frightened, grieving girl who had arrived at Maple Ridge into a confident young woman who looked out for the younger kids and mediated conflicts. The staff began relying on her as an unofficial leader, and even Madison eventually developed a grudging respect for her. Anna excelled in her classes, worked part-time at a local bookstore, and saved every penny she earned. She wrote letters to Danny at his military address, though his responses were infrequent and brief. He was deployed overseas for much of his service. Finally, her 18th birthday arrived. The staff at Maple Ridge threw her a small party, and Mrs. Campbell, the head administrator, pulled her aside afterward. "Anna, you've been one of our success stories," she said warmly. "You came here broken and you're leaving whole. We're all proud of who you've become." "Thank you," Anna replied. "This place, it wasn't what I wanted, but it gave me what I needed." "What are your plans now?" Anna smiled, fingering the heart pendant she still wore every day. "I'm going home." The bus ride back to her hometown felt like traveling through time. Everything looked smaller than she remembered, but also more precious. She had called ahead to make sure Vincent still lived in the area. He did, though he had moved to an apartment across town after remarrying a woman with 2 young children. Anna's heart pounded as she walked up the familiar sidewalk to her childhood home. The garden she and her mother had planted was overgrown, and the paint on the shutters was peeling, but it was still beautiful to her eyes. She knocked on the front door, her suitcase at her feet, and waited. The door opened to reveal a middle-aged woman with suspicious eyes. "Can I help you?" "Hi," Anna said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I'm Anna Thompson. This used to be my house. I was hoping to speak with the current owners about—" "Your house?" The woman's expression hardened. "I don't know what kind of scam you're running, but my husband and I bought this house 3 years ago. Fair and square. We have the papers to prove it." Anna felt the blood drain from her face. 3 years ago. "But Vincent, my stepfather, he promised he would keep it for me. He said he wouldn't sell it." "Look, honey, I don't know who this Vincent person is, but we bought this house from the bank. It was in foreclosure. Now, if you don't mind, I have dinner to prepare for my family. The woman started to close the door, but Anna stepped forward desperately. Please wait. Can you at least tell me how to contact the previous owner? There must be some record. I don't owe you any information, the woman snapped. For all I know, you're casing the joint. My husband will be home soon and he won't appreciate strangers bothering his family. The door slammed in Anna's face, leaving her standing on the porch of her childhood home, suddenly understanding that she was more alone in the world than she had ever imagined. Anna stood on the sidewalk staring at the house that had once been her sanctuary, now occupied by strangers who looked at her like she was a criminal. The autumn wind whipped through her hair, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and the bitter taste of betrayal. How could this happen? How could a house she had lived in for 15 years suddenly belong to someone else? She pulled her thin jacket tighter around her shoulders and picked up her suitcase. The weight of it seemed heavier now, not just with her belongings, but with the crushing realization that she truly had nowhere to go. Vincent had lied to her. The promise to keep the house, to preserve her childhood home until she came of age, it had all been empty words. But Anna Thompson was no longer the broken 15-year-old who had left this place 3 years ago. Danny had taught her that giving up wasn't an option, and even though he wasn't here now, his voice echoed in her mind. Be strong. Be the amazing person I know you are. Walking through the familiar streets of her hometown, Anna tried to remember details from her mother's business dealings. Angela had been meticulous about legal matters, especially during her illness. She had mentioned a lawyer's office downtown, someone she trusted with important documents. The law office of Patterson and Associates was located in a converted Victorian house on Main Street. Anna had vague memories of accompanying her mother here once or twice, sitting in the waiting room while Angela handled paperwork. She pushed through the heavy oak door, the brass nameplate gleaming in the late afternoon sun. The receptionist, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and greying hair, looked up from her computer. Can I help you? I'd like to speak with someone about a legal matter, Anna said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. My mother used to be a client here, Angela Thompson. I'm sorry, but Mr. Patterson is completely booked today and Mr. Hendricks is in court. Would you like to schedule an appointment for next week? Anna's heart sank. Next week? This is really urgent. My mother died 3 years ago, and I just discovered that our house has been sold without my knowledge. I don't understand how that's possible. The receptionist's expression softened. Oh, honey, that does sound urgent. Let me check with Mark, Mr. Patterson, to see if he might have a few minutes. A few moments later, a harried-looking man in his 40s emerged from the back office, his tie loosened and his sleeves rolled up. He had dark hair with premature grey at the temples and intelligent blue eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. I'm Mark Patterson, he said, extending his hand. I understand you have a property issue? Anna shook his hand gratefully. Yes, sir. My name is Anna Thompson. My mother, Angela Thompson, died 3 years ago, and I've been in foster care since then. My stepfather promised to keep our house for me, but I just went there, and strangers are living in it. They say they bought it 3 years ago. Mark rubbed his forehead, looking exhausted. Miss Thompson, I'm sorry for your loss, and I can see this is distressing for you. But property disputes are complex, and frankly, I'm swamped with cases right now. You really need to schedule a proper appointment so we can go through all the documentation. Please, Anna interrupted, her voice cracking slightly. I have nowhere else to go. I just need to understand what happened. My mother always said she was taking care of everything, making sure I'd be provided for. Mark sighed, his expression sympathetic but firm. I wish I could help you right now, but I have 3 depositions tomorrow and a court appearance on Friday. Make an appointment with Sarah here, and we'll sort this out properly next week. Anna felt tears threatening to spill over. She nodded mutely and turned toward the door, her suitcase wheels squeaking across the hardwood floor. Wait! Mark's voice stopped her at the threshold. He stood frozen in the doorway to his office, his face suddenly pale. Did you say Angela Thompson? Anna turned back, hope flickering in her chest. Yes, Angela Marie Thompson. She managed Bennett's Bakery on Elm Street. Mark's hand gripped the doorframe. Sarah, cancel my 5 o'clock. Miss Thompson, please come back. We need to talk. Anna followed him into his office, a cluttered space filled with law books, case files, and family photos. Mark gestured for her to sit while he moved a stack of folders from his desk chair. Tell me about your mother, he said quietly. When did she die? What were the circumstances? Cancer, Anna replied. She fought it for 3 years. She died when I was 15. My stepfather Vincent said he couldn't take care of me, so I went into foster care. Mark was silent for a long moment, studying her face. You look like her, he said finally, especially around the eyes. She had that same determined expression. You knew my mother? She saved my career, Mark said simply. 12 years ago, I was fresh out of law school, drowning in debt, and my first major case was falling apart. I was representing a small business owner who was being sued by a large corporation for copyright infringement. The legal fees were eating up his savings, and I was in way over my head. Anna leaned forward, captivated despite her anxiety. Your mother was working as an assistant manager at that bakery then, but she had dreams of opening her own place. She heard about the case somehow. This town isn't very big, and she showed up at my office one evening. She said she'd done some research and found 3 similar cases where the large corporation had backed down when faced with proper documentation. Mark opened his desk drawer and pulled out a faded business card. She spent her own free time helping me research, making copies, organizing files. She wouldn't accept payment, said she was just helping someone chase their dreams like she hoped to chase hers someday. Because of her help, we won that case. It established my reputation and saved my practice. That sounds like Mom, Anna said softly. She always helped people. After she got sick, she came to me for her will and estate planning. She was very specific about making sure you would be taken care of. Mark's expression darkened. She never mentioned a stepfather. Vincent married her about a year before she died. She was so happy to have found love, even though she was sick. Mark pulled out a thick file from his cabinet. Here's her file. Let me review what we have, and then we'll figure out what went wrong. For the next hour, Mark pored over documents while Anna waited anxiously. Finally, he looked up with a grim expression. Anna, according to the will I prepared with your mother, you are the sole beneficiary of her estate, including the house. Vincent should have had no legal right to sell it. Something very wrong has happened here. What do we do? First, I need to ask, where are you staying tonight? Do you have family or friends in town? Anna's cheeks burned with embarrassment. I don't have anywhere to go. I used all my savings for the bus ticket here. Mark studied her for a moment, then made a decision. Pack up your things. You're coming home with me tonight. My wife Ellen will want to meet Angela's daughter, and we have a guest room. Tomorrow, I'm going to find out exactly what happened to your inheritance. The Patterson home was a cosy 2-story colonial with a wraparound porch and flower boxes under every window. Ellen Patterson, a warm woman with silver-streaked auburn hair, greeted Anna like a long-lost family member. Mark told me about your mother, Ellen said, ushering Anna into the kitchen where something delicious was simmering on the stove. She was a remarkable woman. I still use the recipe she gave me for cinnamon rolls. That night, lying in the comfortable guest bed surrounded by the smell of lavender and the sounds of a happy family, Anna felt safe for the first time since leaving the group home. Over the next week, Mark threw himself into Anna's case with single-minded determination. He delegated his other work to his associates and spent long hours making phone calls, reviewing public records, and tracking down leads. I found him, Mark announced on Thursday afternoon, bursting into the kitchen where Anna was helping Ellen prepare dinner. Roland Mitchell. He's a lawyer 2 towns over who handled what he thought was your mother's estate. Anna set down the wooden spoon she'd been stirring with. What do you mean, what he thought was? Vincent approached him about 6 months after your mother died, claiming to be her widower with custody of you. He brought a young woman he said was you to the reading of the will. Mitchell had never met your mother personally. Vincent claimed she had contacted him by phone and mail before her death. Anna felt sick. Someone pretended to be me. It gets worse, Mark continued. This fake Anna signed documents transferring ownership of the house to Vincent, who then immediately sold it to cover what he claimed were medical debts from your mother's treatment. Mitchell never questioned it because Vincent seemed grief-stricken and the young woman appeared to be a legal adult. But I was in foster care. There should be records. Vincent told Mitchell you had run away from foster care and aged out early. Mitchell was sloppy. He should have verified your identity and location, but he took Vincent at his word. Ellen placed a comforting hand on Anna's shoulder. What can we do about it? Mark's expression was grimly satisfied. We can do a lot. We have documentation proving Anna was in state custody during the entire time period. We have the original will. And Mitchell is so horrified by his mistake that he's willing to testify about Vincent's deception. The legal process moved faster than Anna had expected. Mark filed emergency motions, and within 2 weeks, a judge had issued an order freezing any further transactions involving the house. The current owners, the Bennetts, were shocked to learn they had unknowingly purchased stolen property, but they were understanding when the situation was explained. We never would have bought the house if we'd known, Mrs. Bennett told Anna tearfully. We have children too. We understand what it's like to want to protect them. Vincent, meanwhile, had disappeared. A warrant was issued for his arrest on charges of fraud and identity theft. 3 weeks after Anna had first knocked on the door of her childhood home, she stood in the same spot again, this time with keys in her hand and legal ownership restored. Mark had even recovered most of the money from the fraudulent sale, which had been sitting in an escrow account due to some unrelated legal complications with Vincent's other debts. I don't know how to thank you, Anna said as Mark handed her the deed. There's no need, Mark replied. I told you. Your mother saved my career. This just makes us even. Anna was about to respond when a familiar voice called her name from the sidewalk. Anna? Anna. She turned and felt her heart stop. Danny Rodriguez stood at the garden gate, wearing army fatigues and carrying a duffel bag, looking exactly as she remembered, but somehow more solid, more real. Danny! She ran to him, not caring who was watching, and threw her arms around his neck. He lifted her off her feet and spun her around, both of them laughing and crying at the same time. You found me, Anna whispered against his shoulder. I told you I would, Danny replied, setting her down but not letting go. I got discharged last week and came straight here. I went to the group home first, and Mrs. Campbell told me you'd come back to reclaim your house. I was so proud of you. Anna introduced Danny to Mark and Ellen, who invited them both for dinner to celebrate. Over pot roast and homemade bread, Anna told Danny everything that had happened, Vincent's betrayal, the legal battle, and Mark's incredible help in restoring her inheritance. Your mother would be so proud, Danny said, squeezing Anna's hand under the table. You didn't give up, even when everything seemed hopeless. That night, they walked through Anna's childhood home together, Danny listening as she shared memories attached to each room. They ended up in the living room, sitting on the old couch that the Bennetts had graciously left behind when they moved out. What are your plans now? Danny asked. I mean, now that you have your home back. I want to go to college, Anna said. Study business, maybe. I'd like to open a bakery like Mom always talked about doing. She looked at him seriously. What about you? Will you re-enlist? No, Danny said firmly. I did my service and it was good for me, but I'm ready to build a different kind of life now. A life with you if you'll have me. Anna's answer was interrupted by a loud crash from the kitchen. They both jumped up, Danny instinctively moving protectively in front of Anna. Stay behind me, he whispered. And Anna realized that the easygoing boy she'd fallen in love with had been transformed by military training into someone who could handle dangerous situations. They crept toward the kitchen where they found the back door hanging open and a figure silhouetted in the moonlight. Vincent turned from where he'd been rifling through the drawers, his face twisted with rage and desperation. "You little bitch!" he snarled at Anna. "You cost me everything. I had a new life, a new family, and now they know what I did. My wife left me, took the kids. The police are looking for me." "Vincent, just leave," Anna said, trying to keep her voice steady. "It's over. The house is mine legally. There's nothing you can do about it." "Nothing I can do," Vincent laughed bitterly. "I spent 2 years married to your dying mother, pretending to care, waiting for her to finally kick the bucket so I could cash in. I earned this house." Danny stepped forward, his military bearing evident in every line of his body. "You need to leave. Now." Vincent pulled a knife from the kitchen drawer. "And who's going to make me? Some punk kid playing soldier." What happened next took less than 30 seconds. Danny moved with trained precision, disarming Vincent and pinning him to the floor before Anna even had time to scream. Vincent struggled for a moment, then lay still, gasping. "Anna, call 911, Danny said calmly, maintaining his hold on Vincent. The police arrived within minutes, followed closely by Mark Patterson, who had been awakened by Ellen after Anna's frantic phone call. As they led Vincent away in handcuffs, he looked back at Anna with pure hatred. "This isn't over," he spat. "Yes, it is," Anna replied quietly. "You can't hurt me anymore." 6 months later, Vincent was sentenced to 8 years in prison for fraud, identity theft, and breaking and entering. Anna had started community college and was working part-time at a local bakery to gain experience. Danny had gotten a job with the county sheriff's department and was taking evening classes in criminal justice. They were sitting in the garden Anna had replanted with her mother's favourite flowers when she brought up something that had been on her mind. "Mark refuses to let me pay him properly for everything he did," Anna said. "I want to sell the house and give him half the money, but he won't hear of it." Danny looked up from the seedlings he was planting. "Would you really want to sell this place? It's your childhood home." Anna considered this. "I love this house, but it's too big for one person. And honestly, some of my memories here aren't good ones anymore. Vincent tainted this place. What if it wasn't just one person living here?" Anna's heart skipped a beat. "What are you saying?" Danny wiped his hands on his jeans and pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. "I'm saying that I love you, Anna Thompson. I loved you when we were kids in that group home. I loved you during every day of my deployment, and I love you now. Will you marry me?" Anna looked at the simple but beautiful engagement ring, then at Danny's hopeful face, then at the house where she'd learned both love and loss. "Yes," she said, laughing through happy tears. "Yes, but on one condition." "Anything. We turn part of this house into a bakery, like Mum always wanted to do." Danny slipped the ring onto her finger and pulled her close. "Angela's bakery?" "Perfect," Anna whispered against his lips. A year later, the grand opening of Angela's bakery drew a crowd from 3 towns over. Mark and Ellen Patterson cut the ribbon. Mrs. Campbell from the group home brought a bus full of current residents, and even Mrs. Bennett, who had unknowingly bought Anna's stolen house, came to offer her support. As Anna watched Danny charming customers while she pulled fresh bread from the ovens in the kitchen that had been professionally renovated, she touched the heart pendant she still wore every day. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory. "Promise me you'll never give up on your dreams." "I didn't give up, Mom," Anna whispered. "And look what we built." Outside, the sign swayed gently in the spring breeze. Angela's Bakery, where love lives on. Below it, in smaller letters, established in memory of Angela Marie Thompson, who believed that dreams, like bread, rise best when given time, warmth, and love. Anna smiled, knowing that her mother would be proud of the woman she'd become and the life she'd built from the ashes of loss. She had learned that home wasn't just a place, it was the people who choose to stay when everything falls apart and celebrate when dreams finally come true. The future stretched ahead of them, bright with possibility and sweetened by the knowledge that sometimes, if you're brave enough to fight for what's yours and patient enough to wait for love to find its way back to you, even the most broken stories can have the happiest of endings.